talking about?
We
friends.
have a couple things from yesterday. You want to talk about dating? You want to get views?
Did mom ask you to go to church this morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Oh wow, I didn't.
Because she asked me to, and I said no.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say no. I said maybe, and then I didn't.
Yeah.
I feel like that's even worse though,
Mm.
because then she's just waiting for you there.
No, she wasn't. Dang.
Dude, wake up, Jesse.
I know.
Come on.
Whenever I
on
eat
now.
a heavy meal, I'm just.
No, I'm in food coma too.
I already
That's
know
true.
that.
It was
From,
a lot of oil.
like 5 pieces of
Dude, let's
eggplant.
throw
Eggplant
on-
is
let's
so
throw
bomb.
some
Oh my goodness.
B-roll up in here.
You got videos?
All right, let's get started. What's up, everybody?
Oh my.
Welcome to another episode of the Zahn Family Big Kids Therapy Session.
Oh,
Oh.
Today, I'm your host, Jesse, and I'm joined by my little sister
Rachel.
and my brother.
Andrew.
And today we are bringing you a very, very special episode where we're going to talk about nothing special at all.
Our feelings.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Okay, so...
Wait, do we want to pick up where we left up? Ooh,
Oh, yeah,
left
what
up
was the
on
last
time. It was levels of friendship and what friendship means to us.
What? We were talking about that?
Yeah, we were talking about friendships. Wait.
We were
Levels
talking
of
about friendships, but
no, there was
Oh,
something
really?
deeper. I don't want to talk about that. I
okay,
don't want to talk about what you just said
Oh.
because that's levels of friendship.
Dang.
Anyways, I wanted to talk about why I didn't go to church this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So mom asked us all to go to church this morning because there was this like new youth pastor,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, maybe
He's not
because I
that
kind
new
of want to
anymore.
see.
Yeah,
I kind of want to see what his vibe was like. Apparently, he's coming over for dinner.
not anymore.
But
what?
Oh, good or not good. Oh, I'm indifferent about that. But I was thinking, I was like,
Mom and Dad listen to this.
huh? I can cut that out.
Okay.
And I was thinking, I was like, I returned the question to mom because she comes back from church. She's like, you weren't at church. I was like, I know.
Period.
And I was like, if I wanted you to move to California right now, would you do it?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no. I was like, why not? And I basically was trying to make the point that I didn't have any friends or peers in the church, so why would I go? Because the biggest part
Jesus.
of why, sure, that's important to some people, but like the biggest part of why I went to church before was to hang out with my friends. Church was like a big source of community there. And I feel like my community is no longer there because no one our age goes to church anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly high schoolers, and the youth are like from middle school to high school.
Yeah. I feel like for me, going is also like subjecting myself to seeing a lot of like the parents there.
The aunties
And they're like,
uncles.
Oh,
What are you doing now?
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
a lot of them are really nice, but some of them also have like the ulterior, not really like ulterior
Motive
motives,
of
but
comparing you to their kids.
yeah, you know that like
Mm.
they're doing
They're
some
like
digging for
they're
their own
they're like,
reasons,
oh yeah, this is what my kid's doing.
Did you
We
feel
did
like
that at
lunch. That's exactly what happened at lunch.
That's what happened. We ran into
Yeah.
bleep bleep bleep
Okay,
bleep's
yeah.
mom and
Oh.
what's the
Oh.
Wait, is he in your grade?
and she,
No, he's a year
immediately
above.
she's like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
my
of
son goes
course.
to, and we're like,
nice.
yeah, we
Cool,
knew
good
that.
for you,
Like,
yeah.
thanks for the
I
reminder.
actually didn't know that, but
And
okay.
low key, and then she was like, oh yeah, and my daughter's doing a. And we're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, she doesn't go to church though, does she? Like
I don't
she's
think
just
so,
an Asian
but
mom.
she's like the epitome of tiger moms. I think.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about this on the pod?
I'll cut
Yeah.
identifying information
yeah.
away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like for me, a big part of the reason why I think church is important for our family and important for me growing up was the community aspect.
Mhm.
And what I actually wanted to talk about was like one day in the future, I think we want to move mom and dad out of Ohio, but that's like a really hard thing to do,
Mhm.
especially because their roots and their community
Mm.
ever since they came to the US are built
Mhm.
here. And taking them away from that to be with us feels very selfish.
Yeah.
It feels like something that almost is it's for us more so than it is for them.
This was the prompt that I wrote in the notes. But
No,
it
I wrote
was-
this prompt
No,
in the
I wrote
notes.
this prompt.
No, I wrote this
distinctly
prompt.
Wait.
I
I
wrote
did
this
not. It
prompt
sounds
because
like
I
me.
remember because I had this conversation with
No, that was definitely
wrote
me.
this?
Yeah, that is exactly my style of writing.
Well,
but it was because you had told me about that.
Oh,
and so I
'cause
was like, we should talk
these
about
are,
this.
Yeah, these were my thoughts because I had this
Yeah.
conversation with them.
That's
Okay, so I guess you wrote it, but it was
I transcribed, yeah.
Go
But
ahead.
yeah, the root of it was because you were talking to dad and the conflict that happened with wanting to have Ye and Nai stay with us in America, but like we all know, like they didn't really enjoy their time here.
No, they did
They
not.
got so bored, like
Yeah.
there's nothing to do. They have no friends here.
Yeah.
And then Nai wanted to stay in China because all of her friends are there.
Yep.
There's like not really a sense of purpose here because you know we're all grown and like they can only take care of us so much. But like, oh, so sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of dad's family is in China. Like
Yeah.
he's the only one from his family in the U.S.
Yep.
So
I remember I think the last time dad bought Ye and Nai tickets to go back to China, he bought them round trip tickets, but they just didn't take the
come
flight back. Like dad had every
Whoa.
intention of taking care of because like in our like Chinese culture, it's very important for the eldest child to take care of their parents when they're old. And his intention was to take care of his parents here in the US because like this is where his family is and he has a comfortable life here that he knows he can take care of his parents. But actually yeah, our grandpa was okay with staying in the US. He was like very, I don't know, not necessarily happy, but he was like content.
yeah.
But Nai was really the person that wanted to go back home to China because she felt, like you said, no sense of purpose here, no community here. And dad was telling me that they got into huge fights, like shouting matches. They were just crying and stuff. I was like, whoa, we never
That's
witnessed any
crazy.
of this. 'Cause
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
like
Actually,
little
I had
when
no
this
idea.
happened.
Yeah.
And that got me thinking. I was like, well, none of us plan on staying in Ohio
Yeah.
when they become old. Like, do we do the same thing to them and like take them away from their community, take them away from their roots, just so that we can take care of them?
I think what's different for mom and dad is that like they can probably find community anywhere within
I
a
agree.
Chinese church.
I agree, and there
So-
are Chinese churches everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but this is, I mean, even still, they still haven't left Ohio, despite knowing that.
But dad has like a stable job here and the life is comfortable. So there's not
Philip
really
and John are still
anything
growing up.
yeah, to push him out of the life here.
Yeah.
Like I know he considered moving us, not us anymore, but like John and Philip to Utah because he got reached out to by someone.
Oh,
trying to
really?
get
I
him,
didn't know
yeah,
that.
to-
What?
Yeah, like a software company.
Don't
yeah.
know any of these things. I thought the last time was
Um,
Chicago, back when I was in high school.
Oh, I don't know
Oh,
any
I
of
don't
these
know
things.
about that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, dad gets like job offers all
That's
the
true.
time.
That's
So.
true.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Interesting. But yeah, his job now is very comfortable. But
I thought Ohio
think-
was bad. Okay.
I'm
Anyways,
Utah is not bad. It's
actually, yeah.
I think what mom
I think
wants
the
is
outdoorsy
mountains.
things.
That's true.
Yeah,
Mom wants
like
to be
mom and
in
dad
the
would love
mountains,
that. Yeah.
Like be in the outdoors, be able to hike whenever they want.
Actually,
Yeah.
Hold up.
'Cause I
Utah is probably
remember-
better.
Utah would be
Yeah.
great for
Yeah.
mom.
When we went to Colorado, mom was
so
mom was like
happy. Mom
envisioning her
loves-
life there.
Yeah.
You know,
Mom
she was like,
loves
I could
Colorado.
definitely like
Yeah.
spend the rest of my life here.
Yeah, but there's not a big Asian population. I mean,
There is an Aurora.
Yeah, there's
that's
a big
true.
Korean
They have
population,
H Mart there.
which
They
is super
do.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably have Chinese people there if there's like Korean people, I think.
It's weird. When I was
We
living
tend
out
to travel
there,
together.
there was like not substantial, but there was like a Korean American population there. I met almost no Chinese Americans when I was in Denver, which is really
That's
odd.
true. Now that I think about it, all the people that you met.
There's Korean,
Is
Vietnamese.
Pastime Korean?
Yeah.
Oh.
I
Well,
know.
Eli's a fake. Well, in the sense that his
Jesse.
family's not Korean. Like,
Yeah.
No,
All
it's
his
adopted.
siblings are Korean. I know
yes,
what you mean.
yeah. Okay, that sounded bad. He's not fake Korean. He's Korean, but
But
his
he's
parents-
there
his
because
race-
his parents are
Yeah,
white.
yeah.
Yeah. Not because like his
his
Korean.
parent
yeah.
heritage background. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could definitely. I mean, I want to be somewhere and bring mom and dad somewhere where all parties are happy, where they can find a community and thrive there. And I wonder if we could start like building that early. Like maybe take them on trips places and then take them church
Oh
hopping.
my gosh, it'd be so nice to
Yeah.
live here.
Yeah, they'd be like, let's go to
Yeah.
church this Sunday. Let's go meet some
Yeah.
like Chinese people at a church.
I feel like they do already know a lot of people on the West Coast though. Like every time we go to the Bay Area, or I've been to the Bay like maybe 2 or
Yeah.
3 times with mom and dad, and
like
they always
Seattle
have
because of Uncle
one
Reggie.
church. Yeah, that they
Oh,
already
that's
know
true.
people
So we
at.
could do Seattle,
Seattle
which is
be-
I don't know.
Uh,
Seattle summers are amazing, but I want to go
I
somewhere.
think we all desire to be in somewhere that's a little more diverse.
Yes, for sure. And the other condition that mom has is that it needs to have 4 seasons.
Yeah,
the place that we
she
go
really
to.
likes
Oh,
Fall.
me and mom, we're the same.
But like
That's tough.
the West Coast
No,
is hard.
the Bay apparently goes through fall. Like I did not
Mm.
know this.
Mm.
No, because because I was talking to Annie and I was like, I need my seasons. We've had
There's
this
no
chat many
snow,
times.
though.
Yeah, but you can like drive.
Yeah,
to the
but
mountains.
mom doesn't want that.
Yeah.
I know, but anyways,
I told her about like easy access to
Back-
snow if you want.
back to fall, right? I was like, she told me there's fall in the Bay, and I was like, there's no way. Like I've
I mean,
never
it gets slightly
imagined
colder.
that.
People wear
No,
vests.
the leaves change colors.
Yeah, like the 5 tree
No,
deciduous trees.
no,
change
like
colors.
a lot of them change colors. Like she'd be sending me photos, and she'd be like, "See,
Yeah, but-
fall," and
But
I'd
that
be
doesn't
like,
beat Ohio falls, where like literally forests turn orange and
Yeah.
red.
"But
It's a pretty
the
nice.
leaves
Yeah,
do
it's-
change
fall,
colors."
Fall in Ohio
yeah.
is kind of unbeatable.
Heck, it's pretty nice.
It's pretty
Yeah.
unbeatable. Remember those rooftop?
Oh, when
first
we first
rooftops?
started,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow,
That
that
was
was
like
sick.
the backdrop
Yeah.
was literally just like
Ooh.
golden.
Mhm,
You just
mhm.
can't. I don't think you can beat that. I mean, you probably could, just not on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about,
So
like, East Coast in Maine.
that's not diverse.
Yeah.
Ah,
it's
that's
like-
true, but it's really
No one's
pretty.
there.
I know.
Who lives in Maine?
No one lives in Maine, but it's really pretty up
DC is
there.
really nice.
That's
I
true.
love
Oh,
DC.
this is true.
By
And-
Jujujuma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Juju, we already have.
Hold
So
on.
mom and dad were also saying like, or apparently Xiaoyi wants all of our family our aunt wants all of our family in the U.S. to live in like one big
Yeah.
house,
Oh,
which I think would be really
interesting.
fun. But dad
Yeah,
was
it's like-
very against that.
No.
I don't think that's necessary. We don't all have to
Yeah.
live in the
No.
same house.
In the same
We can
house.
live next
I
to
feel
each
like
other.
there'd be so many arguments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No bueno.
Well, I think it's funny because Xiaoyi did used to live with us, and I wonder if there were conflicts back then. Where
I
dad
think
was
it
like,
was
I can't have this.
Different because she was a student
Yeah,
when she was living here,
sure.
and so it was more of. I feel like that's more so of like mom and dad doing like a favor to her, where it's like unequal power, you know.
yeah, but
so it's
Yeah.
like she kind of owes them respect because of that. But then if they all lived in the same house now, it's like they're all on the same level, so it's like more likely for them to butt heads.
okay. I don't know dad's reasoning for why he would be against that. I think that's kind of cool, like being able to live with your siblings in the same house. Not when we have families. I guess.
I'd like
Yeah,
space.
I don't know if I could.
I wonder if it's because Xiaoyi
Tea?
would leave the responsibility of taking care of
okay,
Rebecca
little
to
kids.
like.
Um,
Although they would be
They'd
old
be
by
pretty
then,
old by
so
then.
Yeah.
they would all
Like,
be
we'll
in
be in
college
boarding
and-
school or college.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it just got me thinking a lot
Mhm.
about community and like wanting to make sure that mom and dad have community, because I think back then that like I don't think dad really thought about his mom or grandma's like point of view
mhm.
that much or took it that seriously. He was just prioritizing. He thought he was doing a good thing by prioritizing taking care of his parents, but he didn't. I don't think he really. I mean, I think now he understands, but
Yeah.
like the aspect of community and making sure that his parents also have community and gives them purpose also plays a big role in like his ability to take care of them.
Dude, I don't
Yeah.
know if dad still understands that, because every single time I come back home, he tries to convince me to find a job in Ohio. I'm like, no, dad, I don't know anybody out
This
here.
is your dream, not mine.
But
We all
yeah,
have very separate dreams, which is like
dad really wants me to come back to Ohio.
I don't know why. I feel like he knows how unhappy all of us are in Ohio. So it's funny that it's nice to be, I
he
think,
just wants to be close to
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
not a
Just
bad thing.
wants
Wants to be
either.
close
Yeah.
to family at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
Yeah, because you guys are all out here in Ohio, and I'm the
Yeah.
only one who's not. So
Well,
I think
I'm
that's
about
why he's
to-
trying to convince me.
Yeet.
in like a year, hopefully
we're
a
all
year.
about to yeet.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Fingers
I'm
crossed.
100% yeeting out of here. Like it's not
It's-
like a
Yeah, no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
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 I mean, it's nice, honestly, like being not forced to, but like having the opportunity to live close to home for
Mhm.
like a very developmental part of my life.
Mm.
Yeah.
I see it now definitely as a blessing because I get to
Mm.
see John and Philip grow up. Like
Yeah,
I don't
that's true.
have
Yeah.
I don't have these large
Yeah.
stretches of times where Andrew's like, holy cow, like
Philip
Philip
looks like a
shot up.
giraffe.
Yeah, I've seen like I don't feel like he's that much taller each time I
Yeah.
see him because
Oh,
I see him like once
yeah.
every month
Yeah.
or two.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to be able to like be a part of their growing up. Like I just
Mm.
like I see them enough where they don't get haircuts in between the times I visit. Like I cut their hair every single time.
Every time. Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. That means I
Yeah.
visit quite often.
Like every
Yeah.
month then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm also grateful that I ended up where I did
Yeah.
for college. I think especially it's been helpful for me like developing my relationship with you guys too.
Mm.
Especially Jesse, because
Mhm.
like you just scoop me up on the way down all the time.
Yeah. Although I do feel so for me, I did have the opportunity to leave Ohio for like it's also a very crucial developmental period of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone needs that at least a window of time to get perspective outside of the small town or the small bubble that they grew up in.
Yeah.
So for you, you still haven't really experienced that, although you have traveled outside. I mean, obviously traveling
Yeah.
outside, but living outside of this state is you just meet people that
I feel like that's no.
different.
I feel like Ohio is diverse in its own way. Like it very much so, especially at Ohio State, since it's such a
since
big
there's so many
school.
people,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's also, I mean, like, granted, it is a PWI, but like you are surrounded by the
It's a
community that
PWI,
you want, primarily white
institution.
institution.
Oh, never heard that.
But like you really can build your own community, so
I
it can
agree.
be as diverse as you want it to be. Like the people that I've met at Ohio State and like that I'm friends with are definitely very different from the people that I've met and grown up with in Mason. Like I've been able to, like, I think actually maybe a hot take, going to a public school, you meet a broader range of people than going to a private school, because at a private school there's less
I agree.
socioeconomic class
Yes.
differentiation, whereas at a public school there's way more of that. And so I've been able to see like how others
it is diverse in its
yeah
own way.
grew
Yeah.
up in that way, that have been very not similar to mine. And like when I talk to my friends who go to private schools, they're like, yeah, actually, and we live in Mason, right? And that's like upper middle class, upper middle class.
Sure.
And they're like, yeah, we're actually like at the lower end of the tax bracket in my friend group, which is wild.
Oh, yeah, with your private school
yeah,
kids? Yeah.
yeah.
When me and
Oh, yeah.
Arjun, we went to Hopkins, we were like, everyone on our floor either went to like a boarding school or private school. We were the only two public school kids on our
Yeah.
floor. And we were like, whoa, like this is really
Yeah.
strange. But we're all in the same place together. So it's like clearly, I mean, just different upbringings. But at the end of the day, you still, I don't know. I think I didn't feel that much different from kids who went to, no, that's not true. I think coming from a private school definitely gives you a different perspective on life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think just in that aspect, like at least going to Ohio State in Ohio, like it's been,
Diverse in different ways.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's even less comfortable because I actually felt like that diversity at Hopkins made me feel more comfortable. I actually had like, I could count on my hand how many white friends I had. Like in our close group of friends, I think I can count on one hand like how many people who are white in that friend group, which that was like the first time, because in high school my majority of my friend groups were white. That felt familiar and really easy, those relationships. I didn't feel like I had to like force a different aspect of myself to like perform or like and that was like the most comfortable I've ever been in terms of like finding friends and building friendships. And I feel like for you've done that with like other Asian Americans that you found in Mason. But imagine just like living somewhere where like that's like everyone you're surrounded by. It just feels
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
That's
Georgetown was slightly different.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Georgetown's different.
Yeah, no. The stereotype. I remember when I got in, and I think you had a mutual friend, someone who like went to Georgetown, and you're telling me what the stereotype of Georgetown was, and it was just
I think it was Arjun because he also got into Georgetown.
Yeah. And it was
Telling
just
me about it.
gonna be like rich, preppy, like East
White
Coast kids.
Yeah.
And that was exactly who my freshman year friend group was, and I felt super well. Again, preface all of this, I did really like them, but I never really connected with them on like more than a surface level. So I really wanted to transfer actually to Ohio State.
What?
Freshman, sophomore year. Did I not tell you this? Yeah. I like had the application up and I like started filling it out and everything because I really did not like my time freshman, sophomore year at Georgetown. I almost transferred.
Really?
Yeah, because every time all my like my closest friends in high school all went to Ohio State. So every time I visited, again, biased because I would visit at breaks or like when the semester wasn't crazy. So yeah, I could see all my like high school friends that I became super close with because we grew up for like 10, 12 years together. I felt massive FOMO because Ohio State was way more fun than Georgetown, or at least for the first 2 years. And then it wasn't till year 3, my junior year, that I found a friend group that I really liked.
And they were they Asian? Because like
it was
it like and like
yeah, it was. I mean, I was friends with freshman year, but
what a goated friend group.
Oh, such a good friend group.
Yeah. It's a nice friend group.
But yeah, it wasn't until junior year that I really felt my stride in college. And it's really sad because now that I think about it, I only spent junior year fall with them. Junior year spring, they all went abroad, and then senior year fall, and then COVID canceled senior year spring. So all in all, I only spent 1 year with like my really, really close friend group.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is.
Oh, I found the friends thing.
Oh, you wrote it down?
No, I found it. It was from the Discord. Okay, so there's 2 of them. One of them is, how have your friendships and your view on friendships evolved throughout your life? How do you guys maintain friendships or make new friends? We talked about that one.
Yes.
And then, how is maintaining relationships with each other different from maintaining relationships with friends or a long distance romantic partner? How well have you maintained relationships with people from previous chapters of your life? Would be curious if / how you've maintained relationships with people, from church, who are still religious.
That's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I think maintaining friendships after college is actually I don't find it too difficult just because we're still like very much in contact all the time. I live close to like 2 of my closest college friends, and we always make at least 1 effort or 2 efforts each year to go see each other. Like we'd mob together somewhere in the country and just have a good time. So there's like scheduled times for me to see my friends every single year.
I think that I'm still in college.
But you have the same thing, but with your high school friends.
Yeah, but with my high school friends, it's nice right now because we all have scheduled breaks together. So what I'm worried about is once we all graduate and are no longer in school, we don't have like the set spring breaks and the winter breaks and the summer breaks. And like being intentional about seeing each other
that
after
might be
that.
it for us because we still are all in school. A lot of us are still in school, still have kind of scheduled break-ish.
Yeah.
Like we can take like a week or 2 off in winter break and meet somewhere for New Year's, but like that doesn't last forever.
Loki, that's so true though, because I'm fully in the workforce. And when I was living in Denver, I saw almost none of my friends because Denver's not a city that you traditionally swing through.
Right.
Unless it was like ski season. And so I saw a couple high school friends when they like came through and went skiing. I went skiing with them. But for like most of the year, it was just pretty isolating. And I think my friends who live in other cities like South Carolina, North Carolina, after college, it's very hard to see them. But now that I'm in New York, everybody swings through. So I see my like high school friends or college friends all the time now because everyone just comes through the city.
Live in a visitable state. Exactly. Because my friend Nick never has to visit anyone because he just knows people come to visit LA. So then he gets to see everyone because they all go to him, which is low-key such like a nice luxury
that you don't even really think about. Or at least I didn't think about because I was like, oh, Denver's sick. And then I'm like, no one's going to come to Denver.
Unless it's ski season,
Unless it's ski season, But being in a visitable city helps a lot.
Yeah. I think it evens out because it's like way cheaper to live at least in Ohio, it's way cheaper to live here.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
then
see
you have
people.
to travel to see your
Exactly.
friends.
Other
So
people, yeah.
it ends up evening out because like people who live in New York and people who live in LA pay a little more for the cost of living.
Maybe a little bit more than a little bit more, but
Yeah, but the amount that I travel to go see my friends,
That's
I think
true,
it
you
adds
travel.
up where it's
You're
like
right, you're
almost
right.
kind of similar.
actually, yeah.
Dang.
No.
Yeah.
You do a lot of traveling.
I do a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
And
you do.
yeah, if you do, going back to the question, because you, I think, maintain friendships with most of your past chapters of your life pretty well, it's because you live in a not so visible city. In order to make that happen, you travel a lot.
Hey, a lot of my
Okay.
friends have visited me, so
Okay, that's actually pretty
They
dope.
just wanna
Those are good
see
friends.
you.
yeah, I know.
Those are
I have
friends.
good friends who come to visit me.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's how I know who my real homies
The
are.
real
Yeah.
homies will fly out to Cleveland.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Dang. Do the ones that visit you, are they from Ohio or from outside of Ohio?
From outside of Ohio.
Impressive.
Record.
Why is it weird to me when a white person says they hate white people? Wait, really? Really?
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's happened to me too.
Wow.
Oh, that's definitely happened to me. Yeah.
That's. I was so confused.
My commentary after it. I have
Wait,
thoughts.
You've never had that happen to you, Andrew?
No.
Okay. When the first time
Not
it
yet.
happened to me,
Oh,
it was
boy.
like so strange. I was like, wait, hold on. What do you mean by that?
You hate being.
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
reiterate the question.
So basically, one time I was like hanging out with like a couple of my white people friends, my white friends, and
Yeah.
I think we were talking about something like social justice related, and they're like, "Yeah, white people are the worst." I was like,
Wait a minute.
"Hold up, what do you mean by that?"
Wait a second.
And I was
Yeah.
just so confused for a second because they're white, and it was like, for me, it just felt performative, and it didn't feel genuine
Mm-hmm.
because they were saying that as to be a part of the woke crowd. It just didn't feel genuine
I
to
think
me. I
when
was like,
someone says
you're
that
just-
too, it's like they're separating themselves from a group that they're a part of and like are perpetuating these things. So it's almost like they're trying to like
not take
excuse
responsibility.
themselves, yeah, from like
They're like,
the culture
there's
that
them, and
their
then there's
people
me.
have created. Yeah.
It's not necessarily a bad thing though, because they're
They
almost
recognize
making
it, yeah.
themselves. Are they making themselves an ally by basically saying I'm not a part of that group?
Do you remember
Or are they
what the
not taking
context
it?
was?
Are they not taking responsibility of their own privilege?
It's just words at the end of the day. Like, what are you gonna like? It means nothing to me if a white person says that. You know?
Yeah, it's like when I'm with some of my friends and they're complaining about guy trolls and they're just like all men are trash, and you're just like,
What am I supposed
yeah,
to say?
I,
here?
yeah, I just
that's
like
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I listen to some of the scenarios I put in, I'm like, yeah,
Mm.
You're right.
Like, you're
you
right.
can't- as a man, you can't also say I hate all men.
yeah, I don't.
It's like
yeah.
you have to be like, yeah, like I understand that's a
understand,
problem.
yeah.
Yes.
And I'm
Yeah.
sorry that happens to you.
Yeah.
That's
But
all
you
can
can't
do.
you can't be like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
you're so right.
Yeah,
That's
all
Go on.
men are
the
trash.
equivalent
Yeah.
would be us, me and Jesse saying all men are trash, which would be weird.
Which would
I
be
like that.
weird because
Yeah.
I don't think it does. I don't think it's productive to say that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because like you're also basically by doing that, you're basically saying I'm not a part of that group, and you're kind of implying that you're not going to take any responsibility to go within that community and make a change.
Right.
Because you're like
Wow.
alienating yourself from them. So almost it's counterproductive because you're like maybe your point of view is a little more correct than the other,
Yeah.
but you're not helping the other group. I'm getting really abstract here, but
Yeah.
you're not helping the other group like change their ways.
Mm-hmm.
But you were mentioning that it's like a form of white guilt. By
Yeah.
saying something like that.
Yeah. And so I've seen a couple of TikToks that have been like, some people just really want to be oppressed. And specifically
love being oppressed.
with
yeah.
these, maybe I share some thoughts with these creators who have said these things, but I'm kind of reiterating some things that I've seen, is that when people feel left out of like historically marginalized groups, especially like people of color, like they'll try to play up something else about themselves that is like also like oppressed in society.
Yeah.
So like being LGBTQ, like obviously that has historically been like a group that has been oppressed and like marginalized, but I don't know if
Right place, right time.
right,
kind of thing.
right.
Yeah.
It almost feels like Oppression Olympics, where like people are comparing the struggles that they've had, and then or they'll play up like mental health, and like obviously these issues are very serious, and like they've faced their own struggles, but it's like almost like when you're comparing the struggles that you've been through during times where race relations are like really tense, it doesn't feel appropriate. Especially if you are white. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like I can't think of like a really I can think of a really strong example of people doing this. You remember Kevin Spacey,
Okay. Yeah.
House of Cards? He's a pedophile.
Yes.
Oh,
So
no.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Didn't hear?
You didn't hear about this?
I don't know.
But he made
No
so
loyal
basically
person.
he was caught sexually assaulting like minorities, not minors, sorry. Minors. Potentially minorities as well. Sorry.
Damn, that's pretty bad. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Minority
Yep,
minors.
Damn.
And
Okay.
Damn.
and he got caught, but he issued an apology letter. And basically at the end, he's like, hey, by the way, guys, I'm announcing that I'm coming out of the
right.
closet and
I
I'm a
remember that.
homosexual.
Oh my god.
Yeah, just basically trying to use this like,
Jeez.
I'm also oppressed, like
Yeah.
trying to,
I'm also a victim.
yeah. And that was crazy. I was like, oh my God, how do you
Yeah.
do something like that? This guy's literally psychotic.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's an example that I can think of where it's almost like like
bad
when you're
example,
playing
I
like
think.
Big Two, like you feel like you have a Joker card if you have like some sort of oppressed or victim background.
Because you just get more sympathy from people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think in that case, a lot of people saw right through it. Most
Yeah.
people did,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
like, "Dude, this is complete bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
timing could not have been worse."
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those kind of things, I do think it's all about time and place. Like, there is a time and place where people should be sympathizing with you, but when it's like in the context of someone else expressing their oppression, like your oppression, unless you're like facing a similar thing or the same thing, does
Table
not need to be said. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
Crazy.
if I do that ever, but I don't know. I don't feel like I complain about. I've never been really.
Yeah, I
oppressed
know.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't
So,
think we face crazy
Yeah.
oppression, to be honest.
don't.
In our circumstances. that
So
we've
yeah,
grown
it's
up
kind of
in.
tough to have this conversation because we come from a perspective of because I can see like if you have really compelling life experiences that makes like that part of you feel like it needs to be heard, then maybe like yeah, when you see other people coming out,
Opportunities,
then maybe you see it as an opportunity where you can
sympathize and empathize. I see.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like we don't have that strong background of being oppressed, so it's hard for us to say what it'd be like to be in that kind of situation. Although from the outside it seems like there are appropriate times and places. Yeah, it is kind of, I think that analogy that Andrew came up with like men saying all men are trash and then white people saying like we hate white folks.
It's very,
Very-
Yeah. Oh, and I wrote in my notes, I said, it gives me Get Out vibes. Like Jordan Peele's
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, no, I know the movie, but
Because
Well-
it's like, I could imagine the
Yeah.
white family being like,
I
oh,
voted
we
for
also
Obama.
hate white people.
Yeah.
oh,
Remember
they
that line?
said
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
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 Oh, we also voted for
Yeah.
Obama.
Yeah.
It's like that. Yep.
Yeah, it's very
Does that,
what's
like,
the
to a
phrase called? It
point?
starts with V. When you're just saying things for show.
Oh. Virtue signaling.
Virtue
Oh,
signaling.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Blanking out and stuff. Yeah,
More
that's
coffee.
very much
Yeah.
virtue
Yeah,
signaling.
yeah,
When you're.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I see.
Oh, that's what it is. That's what.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
when white
I hate
people are
white
like, "I hate white people."
Yeah.
It's just virtue signaling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. We've arrived at
Our conclusion.
our conclusion. And,
Nice.
And I guess that's
that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to get that out there because when it happened to me, I was like, whoa.
I've had friends say it to me.
What do you mean?
Like my white friends have said that to me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
I think.
okay.
Would you rather?
Me. I'm trying to
Would
think
you
of the
rather?
context of when it happened
Huh?
for you guys? Because this hasn't happened to me. My white friends have not. I mean, they've like.
I almost prefer that. I feel like. Would you rather a woke, virtue signaling friend or someone who's just like digging their roots in and like being genuine about their racism?
Oh my gosh.
Wait, what?
No, white people don't have to be racist though. Like it doesn't have to be either two extremes. I think so. The times that it's happened to me is
It's
obviously like engineering, civil engineering, very much so one specific demographic. It's heavily like, you know, white men. And so I've had a lot of experiences where I've just been like really fed up with the behaviors of said demographic group. And so I'll like complain about them. And then, yeah, it's like exactly what you said with the analogy of like when girls say, I hate all men. And then I'll be like, you know, sometimes white people, they just grind my gears. And then my white friends will be like, yeah, I hate white people too. And I'm like, oh,
do you think they're saying that because they're like, oh, if we don't agree with Rachel, she's going to rip into us?
oh my gosh. No, I don't think so. I think it's,
Do you think your friends are scared of you?
no,
Oh, no,
absolutely
okay.
not.
Huh.
No.
Just
I
wondering.
think, no, they're the ones who think I am approachable. Like we were like talking in a group and being like, who, like if anyone was out on the street and was like to ask someone for directions, like who out of all of us would they go to? And like,
Oh, they
I
all
think
pick
most
you.
people will
See
say
you
me.
Are they all
interact
saying
outside of
it's
a
you
family
because
context.
they're
They're
scared that if they don't pick you?
Am I scary? What the heck? No, I think actually out
Your
of
friends
my
are secretly just
No,
quaking in
out
their
of
boots
my-
every time they're with you.
out of my friend group, I'm probably one of the less outspoken ones.
Really?
Yeah, like I have friends that are really like hardcore, like believe what they believe in.
Yeah. Same.
And like
Yeah.
very, very much so will fight people on it,
Mhm.
like verbally, maybe physically kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
also don't appreciate people like that because they see the world in such black and white terms. There's no like leeway for understanding the other person. Like, I do agree there are some very extreme views that you can have, but there's always room for you trying to understand them. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to like convince them otherwise. If there's no at least a little bit of understanding of where they're coming from, you're never going to be able to make them change their mind because you're just going to be butting heads the whole time. And yeah.
I think at least with my friends, it's like there are times and places where like we're all open to having certain things about like our beliefs change, but it's also like we share a lot of the same beliefs. They're just more outspoken about some of them.
Yeah, I've had friends be like, "Oh yeah, like okay, so I have friends that went on to college, became really liberal and very progressive in their views, but like almost to a fault and these friends are from Ohio, so they have conservative friends or family, and they're just like, yeah, like I hate my parents now because they voted for Trump.
Dang.
And I'm just like, you're never going to bridge that gap if you're like
If you have that
alienating your
mindset,
own family. Yeah, I'm like, you grew up in this environment, you can kind of understand and not appreciate, but you can understand why your parents have these views. And that for me, like even though mom and dad hold very frustrating views to me, I don't let it get in the way of like me being able to love them because I try my best to understand their point of views.
Right.
And I think sometimes the toxic progressive left, like if you even try to understand the other point of view, like people like will like attack you for doing so.
Yeah.
Like even giving them the time of the day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think, I mean, that's the kind of issue of our society today is
Yeah.
no one's trying to understand the other side.
Yeah. And it's like, I think people have the assumption that, at least it's happened to me a couple of times where I feel like it hasn't been like outright spoken to me. But the fact that I do have conservative parents, my friends are like, oh, like, haven't you tried like pushing them further to the left? And I was like, oh, have I tried? Like, but at the end of the day, it's not worth sacrificing like the relationship that I have with them for political views. Like, they are, at the end of the day, they're 2 votes.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah.
there's not, and like their little sphere of influence within the church, but I don't think they're the ones like really pushing that.
Yeah, and like people will believe what they believe, and they have every right to. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's a happy medium everywhere, and we need people on the left and the right. But like, obviously, you don't want people on the way left and the way right, because can't think of a good analogy of where that goes wrong. But it breaks in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, so say you have a seesaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you have
a lot of weight.
a lot of weight on the opposites, like on the very ends,
Yeah.
then the seesaw breaks. But if they're all centered around the middle, then you have a
Seesaw
nice
balances.
balanced seesaw. And that's where I think our society should
Congregate in the middle.
congregate in the middle.
I'll just be
'Cause the
one
thing
big
is,
if you
happy
all move,
family.
it's the one
It's
side,
crazy
it also
because
works.
I think this is actually a really good model of society, because as people move more to the edges of the seesaw, you need other people to move even further on their side of the seesaw in order to balance it out. So we're starting to see in our society people start to polarize and work further and further away.
Interesting.
And I wonder if there's, at what point do people start coming back to the middle, or you have to break the seesaw and start from scratch?
And then you have two separate countries. You have seesaw to the right and seesaw to the left.
We have civil war again. No, I think
That's true.
we're like moving more towards, at least we're not, I think there's a desire to move more towards the middle, or like have a more united
Yes.
States with the election of Joe Biden. Like obviously
true.
not a lot of people were happy about that, but like there was a big question of electability with like Joe Biden versus like some of his more extreme counterparts.
Yeah. All right. This is getting too political. Let's cut it off here
Okay.
Yeah.
and wrap it up. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this episode of the Rooftop Pod. I am your host, Jesse, and checking out with me is my sister,
Rachel.
and my brother,
Andrew.
and we will catch you on the next episode of the Rooftop Pod.